Good evening, and welcome to another revealing episode of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your relevant and reverberating host, Voice of Doom. Hello. Alright. I don't know why I'm doing more diatribes, but something always crops up, and I want to be the first one on the block to give my 2 cents on what's happening before everybody copies me later and makes lots of money doing it. So the big news of today, Monday, May 19th, 2025 is been revealed that Petri Dish has cancer, and as with everyone else, I'm not going to relish, I'm not going to say how much I despise the guy, because I've dealt with cancer up close, and it's going to be hard. And he's a human being, and as a Buddhist, I have to go with the axiom that everyone has the Buddha nature, whether they manifest it most times or not. All human life and all life is worthy of respect. Now, I don't know how far you can take that. You can take it to the worst people that have ever occupied this planet. How can you feel sorry for Schicklgruber or Mao or Stalin when they finally shuffle off this mortal coil? But you don't have to feel sorry, but you can say maybe they'll do better next time. They're going to pay an awful price for their acts, and they may live millions of millennia, eons, in misery to pay for what they did. And I'm sure that Petri Dish will pay. But I'm not going to revel, and I'm not going to gloat. I'm actually sorry, because Petri was one of the best assets that the Goppers ever had by being out in public and speaking. He was a great source for support for the Republican Party, because it kept people remembering just how bad he was. Now, the people that are still deluding themselves, they're beyond hope. I feel sorry for them, because they're not going to progress through the space-time continuum. They're not going to get better, they're going to get worse. All these media guys who make millions writing books about how they were duped. All these viewites, women who cackle and bray about how great Petri Dish was and what an evil person Orangey is, are going to pay dearly, lifetime after lifetime. So I have nothing but pity for them. Not compassion necessarily, but pity. Now, things are happening fast that are drawing back the curtain on the reality of what we've gone through, and there's many people in the Petri Dish circle who are going to have to answer for things. And it's getting to the point where you can't spin no more. It's beautiful to see, because I think the Democrat Party should be destroyed. I don't think there should be any vestige left. It should be just like after World War II. There's not going to be anything left of that Nazi ideology. We'll blow up every statue, we'll blow up every emblem, we will burn every bit, and we will physically force the vanquished nation to disavow forever that doctrine. No, it's not going to be, well, if you decide you don't want to be a Nazi anymore. No, you are not going to be a Nazi anymore, or if it's off to the gallows for you. And that's the way they dealt with it back in 1945, and they were right in doing so. You know, if you watch documentaries, you talk about Nuremberg trials where they had some big long trial for the high mucky mucks before they hung them or jailed them. There were many, many people in the death camps who were summarily executed. Yeah, you were a guard, you were a commander. We're not even going to bother with a trial. Just up against the wall, you're done. That's how they did it back then, and they kind of need to do that again. Now, I'm not saying I'd love to see it, but it's a little draconian to take all the leaders of the Democrat Party, and I mean, I have my fantasies about what I'd like to see happen, because I have a very vivid imagination, and I picture thousands of Democratic apparatchiks in a cargo plane, those big ones, huge cargo planes, and they're sitting there, and the back end opens up when they're 30,000 feet in the air, and they're all pushed out. But that would cause a brouhaha. That would raise a few eyebrows. So we're not going to see that happen, but we could see a few D's go to the prison, and they deserve to. And by the curtain being pulled away, we all remember a movie when we were kids called The Wizard of Oz. And even though at the end the moral of the story was the wizard wasn't really all powerful, but yet he did turn out to be kind of wise when they saw the big scary face that scared the hell out of kids, and the monkeys and all that. And then you realized it was all a facade. Then the real wizard did turn out to be helpful. He brought some enlightenment to all four of the heroes and gave them what they wanted. But in this case, the curtain's being drawn, and there's no way there's any redemption for them, because the D's are not good, and they haven't been good from their inception. They've played us as fools for centuries. First they're against civil rights, first they're racist to the core, and then when they realize that ain't gonna win them any popularity contest, they turn turtle and say, well, let's give the oppressed people of color everything they want and give them more than what they need so that we can show how good we are. The tragedy of American compassion, where you're condescending, you're patronizing. You can't make it because you're a person of color, so we're going to give you a boost. So they've always been bad. But now in the last 4, 5, 6 years, it's becoming apparent to any sentient human being, which there's very few, how bad they really are, and they're still clinging. They're going to be destroyed, lock, stock, and barrel. No Democrat Party after 2028. They're gone. You can have libertarians, you can have Greens, you can have anything you want. I don't care, communists, socialists. But no Ds. None. If you're a D, you are the equivalent of a Nazi. And that's just the way it is. They think it's the exact opposite. They gaslight us into thinking that Orangey's the Nazi and a dictator and a fascist because he dares to go and try to make peace in the Middle East. How dare he? How dare he take planes as a gift? He's just up for his own, enrichment. Same old thing, and it's so stupid because most people are politically ignorant. They don't know anything. And then they get a TV show and get to sit around a table and talk about how great they are, even though they're corrupt. Now, let's see all the people that are going down in flames. Well, you got Letitia James, who's guilty of the same thing that she accused Orangey of doing, which he didn't do because he underinflated his assets and got a loan and paid it back, and everybody was happy, but we're still going to prosecute you. And we're going to fine you $500 million. Now, if he pays 1 cent of that $500 million, I'm going to be pissed. I'll go to D.C. myself and say, I want to see Orangey because you're not going to pay any of this. Or I'm going to, lose faith in you. So Letitia James is up against it because she did all kinds of shenanigans that she was accusing Orangey of. Only it was even worse. It was blatant fraud. And she will be in prison if there's justice, which I don't know if there is. Fonnie Willis, well, she has her own problems. I don't know if she'll end up in jail, but I think that her reputation has been destroyed, so she can get a new job as a preschool teacher or something. I don't know. All the other judges being arrested for impeding the law, people in the idiot wokester mongrels going to ICE prisons and trying to protest and interfering with the law, they need to be jailed. And these media guys need to be at least exiled to Antarctica. So there needs to be justice, and when they say it's politically motivated, you just say, well, no one's above the law, and they broke the law, so we will prosecute them. Seems very simple. Who else is kind of going down the tubes besides Petri Dish and everybody else? I mean, I'll give you dollars to donuts that within a day or two these View shrews blame Orangey for Petri Dish's cancer. You see what happens when you elect Orangey? Our beloved president gets cancer. It's all his fault. You watch them try to blame. And then they're saying, Axelrod, well, now at least we can have a distraction where nobody will be picking on the D's anymore because our beloved Petri Dish has cancer. They just can't stop being disgusting. It's in their blood. It's in their DNA. So I say abolish that party for good. There's no reason for anyone to be a member of the Democratic Party. No reason. Unless they want to come out and admit in front of the world, yes, I'm an evil person. I hate humanity. So I'm a D. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. I had to say something in tribute to Petri Dish. And I'm sorry, at least he's going to get state-of-the-art medical care from the same doctor that didn't say anything to anybody for 4 years about his health. But he'll have around-the-clock help, and he'll have all kinds of nurses, and he'll be living in comfort from his ill-gotten gains, as opposed to how I dealt with cancer, where we were alone. And we got help from hospice, but we were alone. And it got worse and worse and worse. And he won't live to see 26. He won't live to see probably October, if my reckoning is correct. That's just the way it goes. So, bonsoir, ancien régime. And here's to a brighter future with a more competent leader. And I'll leave it there. I thought that was pretty good. And have a good day. Bye.